Ezra, Chapter 1. In the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, Yahweh willed to fulfill the word he had said through the prophet Jeremiah. So he moved the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, to issue the following command and send it out in writing to be read aloud everywhere in his kingdom. Thus speaks Cyrus, king of Persia: Yahweh, the God of heavens, who has given me all the kingdoms of the earth, has ordered me to build him a temple in Jerusalem, in the land of Judah. To everyone belonging to his people, may his God be with him. Let them go up to Jerusalem with the help of their God, and there build the house of Yahweh, the God of Israel, the God who is in Jerusalem. In every place where the rest of the people of Yahweh live, let the people of those places help them for their journey with silver, gold, and all kinds of goods and livestock. Let them also give them voluntary offerings for the house of Yahweh, which is in Jerusalem. Then they rose up, the heads of the families of Judah and Benjamin, the priests and the Levites, and all those whose spirit God had stirred up, and they decided to go and build the house of Yahweh. And all their neighbors gave them all kinds of help: gold, silver, livestock, and precious objects in great quantity, besides every kind of voluntary offering. King Cyrus also brought out the vessels of the house of Yahweh, which Nebuchadnezzar had carried away from Jerusalem and placed in the house of his gods. Cyrus the king gave them into the hands of Mithredath the treasurer, who counted them and turned them over to Sheshbazzar the prince of Judah. This is the list: golden cups for the offering 30, silver cups for offering 1,000, knives 29, other cups of gold 30, of silver 410, other vessels 1,000. Total number of golden and silver vessels 5,400. All this was brought out by Sheshbazzar when the exiles were allowed to return to Jerusalem from Babylon. Ezra, Chapter 2. These were the people of the province who returned from captivity and exile. After being deported to Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, they returned to Jerusalem and to Judah, each to his own town. They arrived with Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Seraiah, Reelaiah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispar, Bigvai, Rehum, and Bana. The list of the clans of the people of Israel: the clan of Parod, 2,172. The clan of Shephatiah, 372. The clan of Ara, 775. The clan of Pahath-Moab, that is to say, the sons of Jeshua and Joab, 2,812. The clan of Elam, 1,254. The clan of Zatu, 945. The clan of Sakal, 760. The clan of Bani, 642. The clan of Bebai, 623. The clan of Asgad, 1,222. The clan of Adonikam, 666. The clan of Bigvai, 2,056. The clan of Adin, 464. The clan of Ater, that is to say, of Hezekiah, 98. The clan of Besai, 323. The clan of Jorah, 112. The clan of Ashum, 223. The clan of Gibbar, 95. People of Bethlehem, 123. People of Netophah, 56. People of Anathoth, 128. The clan of Asmaveth, 42. People of Kiriath Jearim, Kephirah and Beeroth, 743. People of Ramah and Geba, 621. People of Michmas, 122. People of Bethel and Ai, 223. People of Nebo, 52. People of Magbish, 156. People of another Elam, 1254. People of Harim, 320. People of Lod, Hadid and Ono, 725. People of Jericho, 345. People of Sena, 3630. The priests, the clan of Jedaiah, that is to say, the house of Jeshua, 973. The clan of Immer, 1052. The clan of Pashur, 1247. The clan of Harim, 1017. The Levites, the descendants of Jeshua and Kadmiel, of the descendants of Hodaviah, 74. The temple musicians, the clan of Asaph, 128. The gatekeepers, the clan of Shallum, the clan of Ater, the clan of Talmon, the clan of Akub, the clan of Atita, the clan of Shobai, in all 139. The helpers, the clans of Siha, Hasupha, Tabaoth, Keros, Siaka, Padon, Lebana, Hagaba, Akub, Hagab, Shamial, Hanan, Giddel, Gahar, Rayaya, Resin, Nekoda, Gasam, Ussa, Pasaya, Besai, Asna, the Meunites, the Nephisites, Bakbuk, Hakufa, Harhur, Basluth, Mehida, Harsha, Barkos, Sisera, Tema, Nesia, Hatifa. The clans of Solomon's slaves, Sotai, Hasopheret, Peruda, Jala, Darkon, Giddel, Shephatiah, Hatil, Pokereth Hasabaim, Ami. The total of the helpers and the sons of Solomon's slaves, 392. The following who came from Tel Mela, Tel Harsha, Kerub, Addan and Immer could not prove that their families and ancestry were of Israelite origin. The clans of Delaiah, Tobiah, Nekoda, 652. And among the priests, the clans of Abiah, Hakos, Barzillai, who had married one of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite whose name he adopted. These people searched in their ancestral registers but could not be located in them, so they were excluded from the priesthood as unclean, and His Excellency forbade them to eat the sacred foods until a priest could be found for the Urim and Thummim. The whole assembly numbered 42,360 people, not counting their slaves and maidservants, to the number of 7,337. They also had 200 male and female singers. The horse numbered 736, their mules 245, their camels 435, and their donkeys 6,720. When they arrived at the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem, some of the leaders of the clans made voluntary offerings for the temple of God for its rebuilding on its old site. In accordance with their means, they gave to the building fund 61,000 darics of gold, 5,000 minas of silver, and 100 priestly robes. The priests, Levites, and part of the people settled in Jerusalem, the gatekeepers, temple musicians, workmen, and all the other Israelites at their own towns. Ezra chapter 3. By the 7th month, the Israelites were already settled in their cities. Then all the people gathered in Jerusalem. Joshua, son of Josadak, with his fellow priests, and Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, with his brothers, began rebuilding the altar of the God of Israel to offer the sacrifices upon it, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God. They built the altar in the same place in spite of the fear they had of the people of the land, and they offered burnt offerings upon it, and the morning and evening sacrifice. They celebrated the Feast of the Tabernacles, as it is written, and offered burnt offerings daily according to the established ritual. Then they continued offering the perpetual sacrifice and the sacrifices on the Sabbaths, the new moon, and all the solemnities of Yahweh, besides what everyone would offer voluntarily to Yahweh. They began offering burnt offerings on the first day of the 7th month, although the foundation of the house of Yahweh had not yet been laid. They gave money to the masons and the carpenters. They also gave food, wine, and oil to the Sidonians and the Tyrians to bring cedar lumber from Lebanon to Joppa by sea, according to the authorization of Cyrus, king of Persia. In the second year after their arrival at the house of God in Jerusalem, in the 2nd month, Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Joshua, son of Josadak, with the rest of their brothers, the priests, the Levites, and all who had returned to Jerusalem from exile, began the work. They appointed the Levites, who were 20 years old and upward, to supervise the work in the house of Yahweh. Joshua, his sons and his brothers, Kadmiel and his sons, and the sons of Kenadad, all together agreed to supervise those who worked in the house of God. When the workers had laid the foundation for the sanctuary of Yahweh, the priests, clothed in fine linen, came forward with trumpets, and the Levites, sons of Asaph, with cymbals, and they sang to Yahweh according to the ordinance of David, king of Israel. They gave thanks to Yahweh, singing and praising, for he is good, for his love for Israel is eternal. All the people shouted aloud the praises of Yahweh, for the foundation of the house of Yahweh had now been laid. Many of the priests, Levites, and older heads of the families who have seen the first house wept with great lamentation as the foundation was laid. But others raised their voices with shouts of joy, and the people could not distinguish the shouts of rejoicing from the cries of weeping, for the people shouted so loudly that the noise was heard afar. Ezra chapter 4. When the enemies of Judah and Benjamin learned that those who had returned from exile were building the sanctuary of Yahweh, the God of Israel, they approached Zerubbabel and the heads of the families and said to them, "Allow us to help you in the work of construction, for we are also concerned about your God. We have offered him sacrifices from the time of Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, who brought us here." Zerubbabel, Joshua, and the heads of the Israelite families answered them, "We cannot let you join us, for we alone must rebuild it, as Cyrus, king of Persia, has commanded." Then the people of the land set about discouraging the workers of Judah and frightening them to keep them from building. They hired some counselors of the royal court to make the project fail. And they did this all during the time of Cyrus, king of Persia, until the reign of Darius, king of Persia. In the beginning of the reign of Xerxes, they lodged a complaint against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. Again, in the time of King Artaxerxes, king of Persia, Bishlam, Mithredath, Tabeel, and the rest of their colleagues wrote to Artaxerxes. The letter was written in Aramaic and translated. So it began this way: From Rahum, the governor, and Shimshai, the secretary, and from the rest of their colleagues, the judges and the legates, and all Persian officials, the people of Erech, Babylon, and Susa, that is, the Elamites, and from the rest of the nations whom the great Assurbanipal deported and settled in the cities of Samaria and in the rest of the province at the other side of the river. This is a copy of the letter they sent to King Artaxerxes. Your servants, the people beyond the river, send greetings. It should be made known to the king that the Jews who came up from your side to ours and have gone to Jerusalem are now building this rebellious and wicked city. They are now rebuilding the walls and have laid the foundation. Be it known then to the king that if this city is rebuilt and its walls finished, they will no longer pay taxes, tributes, or toll duties, and in the end this city shall bring harm to the kings. Now, as we eat the salt of the palace, and we do not wish to see the king dishonored, we are sending this information to the king. If you look into the records of your fathers, you will find that this city is a rebellious city. It has disturbed the kings and the provinces and has fostered sedition from of old. It is precisely because of this that it was destroyed. We make known to the king that if this city is rebuilt and its walls restored, you will soon lose your territories on that side of the river. The king wrote this in reply to Rehum the governor, to Shimshal the secretary, and to the rest of their colleagues who are in Samaria and in the other places at the other side of the river. Greetings. The letter you sent to me has been read word for word in my presence. I gave orders to inquire into these things, and it has been found that from ancient times that city has rebelled against the kings, and that sedition and rebellions have happened there. There were powerful kings in Jerusalem, masters of all the land at the other side of the river, to whom tribute, taxes, and toll duties were paid. Therefore, order the people to stop work. They shall not rebuild that city without my authorization. Do not neglect this grave concern, lest further harm be done to the kingdom. When the copy of this letter of King Artaxerxes was read before Rehum, the governor, Shimshal, the secretary, and their colleagues, they went hurriedly to Jerusalem, and they used force and violence to make the Jews suspend their work. So the work on the house of God in Jerusalem was interrupted and not begun until the second year of the reign of Darius, king of Persia. Ezra chapter 5. The prophets Haggai and Zechariah, son of Iddo, addressed the Jews who lived in Judea and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel who was with them. Upon hearing them, Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Joshua, son of Josadak, began to rebuild the house of God in Jerusalem. The prophets of God were with them, supporting them. Then Tattenai, the governor of the province, at the other side of the river, and Shethar-bozenai came with their counselors and said to them, "Who has ordered you to build this house and its walls?" And they also asked, "Who are the men working on the construction of this building?" But the favor of God was with the leaders of the Jews, for these people did not oblige the Jews to stop the work while the matter was being referred to King Darius, and they were waiting for his answer. This is a copy of the joint letter to King Darius from Tattenai, governor of the province of the other side of the river. Shethar-bozenai and his counselors, the Persians at the other bank of the river. To King Darius, peace. We wish to inform the king that we went to the province of Judea, to the house of the great God. They are now building the temple with hewn stones and timber to reinforce the walls. The work is being done with great care and progresses quickly at their hands. We questioned the elders and asked them, "Who has ordered you to build this house and finish this sanctuary?" We also asked them their names and wrote down the names of their leaders for your information. They gave us this answer: "We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth, and we are rebuilding the house that was built many years ago. A great king of Israel built and finished it. But then our ancestors angered the God of heaven, so he gave the children into the hands of the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, who destroyed this house and carried away the people to Babylonia. However, in the first year of his reign, Cyrus, king of Babylon, issued a decree that the house of God should be built. The gold and silver vessels of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple of Jerusalem and placed in the temple of Babylon, were taken from there by Cyrus and turned over to Sheshbazzar, whom he had appointed governor. He said to him, "Take these vessels and bring them to the temple of Jerusalem, and let the house of God be rebuilt in the same place." Then Sheshbazzar came and laid the foundations of the house of God in Jerusalem. From that time until now, it is gradually being rebuilt, but is still not finished. Now, if it seems good to the king that inquiries be made into the royal archives there in Babylon to verify whether a decree was indeed issued by King Cyrus for the rebuilding of the house of God in Jerusalem, then may the king inform us of his will in this matter. Ezra chapter 6. Then King Darius commanded that inquiries be made in the house of the archives in Babylon, where the records were kept. And in Ecbatana, a fortress in the province of Media, a scroll was found, on which the following was written. In the first year of his reign, King Cyrus has issued this decree concerning the house of God in Jerusalem. Let the foundation of that house be laid, and the house be rebuilt, in order that sacrifices be offered in it. The said house shall be 30 meters high and 30 meters wide, with 3 layers of hewn stones and 1 of wood. The expenses shall be paid for by the house of the king. Moreover, the vessels of gold and silver, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple of Jerusalem, ought to be returned to the place where these used to be kept in the house of God. Now therefore I say this to you, Tattenai, governor of the province at the other side of the river, Shethar-bozenai, and their Persian counselors living at the other side of the river, do not interfere in this matter. Let the governor of the Jews, together with their leaders, build the house of God on its former site. This is the command I give as to what you should do to help those Jewish leaders rebuild the house of God. Pay the expenses in full and without delay, with the income from taxes of the province at the other side of the river, which is allotted to the king. Then, upon the request of the priests of Jerusalem, give them daily and without fail what is needed for the sacrifices to the God of heaven: young bulls, rams, lambs, wheat, salt, wine, and oil. With these, they shall offer sacrifices acceptable to the God of heaven and pray for the life of the king and his sons. Moreover, I command the following: if anyone opposes these ordinances, a beam shall be pulled out of his house, and he shall be hung on it, and his house reduced to a heap of ruin as punishment for his rebellion. And may the God who makes his name dwell there crush every rebel, king or people, who goes against this and tries to destroy the house of God in Jerusalem. I, Darius, give this command. Let it be carried out at once. Tattenai, governor of the region beyond the river, Shethar-bozenai and his counselors acted in conformity with the order of King Darius, and the leaders of the Jews continued to make progress in building, encouraged by what Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo had said, and they finished the work according to the command of the God of Israel and the decrees of Cyrus and Darius. The house was finished on the 3rd day of the month of Adar, in the 6th year of the reign of Darius. The children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of those who had returned from exile, celebrated the consecration of this house of God with rejoicing, offering on this solemnity 100 young bulls, 200 rams, and 400 lambs, and 12 he-goats as a sin offering for all Israel, according to the number of the tribes of Israel. Then they installed the priests according to their ranks, and the Levites according to their classes, for the service of the house of God in Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. Those who had returned from exile celebrated the Passover on the 14th day of the first month, for the priests and the Levites had purified themselves together, and all of them were clean. So they slaughtered the Passover lamb for all who had returned from exile, for their fellow priests and for themselves. The Israelites who had returned from exile ate the Passover lamb with all those who had separated themselves from the people of the land and joined the returned exiles to seek Yahweh, the God of Israel. They celebrated the feast of unleavened bread joyfully for 7 days. The reason for their joy was that Yahweh had turned the king of Assyria to look favorably on them, so that they had been allowed to continue the work of rebuilding the house of the God of Israel. Ezra chapter 7. After this, in the reign of Artaxerxes, king of Persia, Ezra, the son of Seraiah, came from Babylon. He was a descendant of Azariah, Hilkiah, Shallum, Sadiq, Ahitub, Amariah, Azariah, Meraioth, Serahiah, Uzzi, Bukki, Abishua, Phinehas, Eleazar, and Aaron the high priest. This Ezra, well educated in the law given to Moses by Yahweh, the God of Israel, went up from Babylon, and as the hand of Yahweh his God was upon him, the king granted him all he asked. Many children of Israel, priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, and temple servants also came to Jerusalem in the 7th year of King Artaxerxes. Ezra came to Jerusalem in the 5th month of the 7th year of the king. He had left Babylon on the 1st day of the 1st month and arrived in Jerusalem on the 1st day of the 5th month, for the good hand of his God was upon him. Ezra had indeed dedicated himself with all his heart in putting into action the law of Yahweh and teaching his commandments and precepts to Israel. Here is the copy of the letter given by King Artaxerxes to Ezra, priest and scribe, learned in the commandments and laws Yahweh has given to Israel. Artaxerxes, king of kings, to Ezra, priest and teacher, learned in the law of the God of heaven, peace. I have given orders so that all the Israelites who are in my kingdom and are ready to go with you to Jerusalem may live with their priests and Levites. As for you, you shall go as the representative of the king and of his 7 counselors to see to it that the law of God which is in your hands is observed in Judah and Jerusalem, and to bring there the gold and silver which the king and his counselors have generously offered to the God of Israel, whose house is in Jerusalem. You shall also bring all the silver and gold you can gather in Babylon with the voluntary offerings of the people and the priests for the house of God in Jerusalem. With this money, take care to buy young bulls, rams, lambs, and everything needed for the grain offerings and the libations, which you shall offer upon the altar of the house of your God in Jerusalem. Do whatever seems best to you and your brothers with the rest of the silver and gold, according to the will of your God. Place before God in Jerusalem the vessels given to you for the service of the house of your God, and take from the treasuries of the king whatever is needed to pay for the expenses for the house of your God. I, King Artaxerxes, command all the treasurers in the region at the other side of the river to do exactly all that Ezra, priest and scribe, learned in the law of the God of heaven, may ask of them, giving him up to 100 talents of silver, 100 sacks of wheat, 100 measures of wine, and 100 measures of oil. Salt shall be given him without measure. Everything commanded by the God of heaven should be done with great care for the house of the God of heaven, in order that his wrath may not come upon the kingdom, the king and his sons. We also make it known that taxes, contributions, or toll duties cannot be collected from any of the priests, Levites, singers, gatekeepers, ministers, and servants of this house of God. And you, Ezra, according to the wisdom of your God, appoint judges and magistrates to administer justice to all the people at the other side of the river, to all who know the law of your God, and teach it to those who do not know it. Whoever will not fulfill the law of your God and the law of the king shall be severely punished with death, banishment, fine, or imprisonment. Blessed be Yahweh, the God of our ancestors, who inspired the king with this will to exalt and glorify the house of Yahweh in Jerusalem, and who let me win the favor of the king, of his counselors, and of all his important officers. For my part, I took courage, since the hand of Yahweh my God was with me, and I gathered together the leaders of Israel to go up with me. Ezra chapter 8. These are the heads of clans who set out from Babylon with me in the reign of King Artaxerxes. Their predecessors are named: of the clan of Phinehas, Gershom; of the clan of Ithamar, Daniel; of the clan of David, Hattush, son of Shechaniah; of the clan of Parosh, Zechariah; with whom 150 males were registered. Of the clan of Pahath Moab, Eliehonai, son of Serahiah, and with him 200 males. Of the clan of Satu, Shechaniah, son of Jahaziel, and with him 300 males. Of the clan of Adin, Ebed, son of Jonathan, and with him 50 males. Of the clan of Elam, Jeshaiah, son of Athaliah, and with him 70 males. Of the clan of Shephatiah, Sebadiah, son of Michael, and with him 80 males. Of the clan of Joab, Obadiah, son of Jehiel, and with him 218 males. Of the clan of Bani, Shelomith, son of Josephiah, and with him 160 males. Of the clan of Bebai, Zechariah, son of Bebai, and with him 28 males. Of the clan of Asgad, Johanan, son of Hakatan, and with him 110 males. Of the clan of Adonikam, the younger sons, whose names are Eliphelet, Jael, and Shemaiah, and with them 60 males. And of the clan of Bigvai, Uthai, son of Sabud, and with him 70 males. I gathered them by the river that runs to Ahava, and there we encamped for 3 days. And having searched among these people, I did not find anyone from the tribe of Levi. Then I sent for Eliezer, Ariel, Shemaiah, Elnathan, Jarib, Elnathan, Nathan, Zechariah, and Meshullam, who were leaders, and for Joyarif and Elnathan, who were wise. I gave them orders concerning Iddo, the leader who was in Casiphia. I gave them a message to relay to Iddo and his brothers, the helpers in Casiphia, to send us ministers for the house of our God. As the good hand of God was with us, they brought us Sherebiah, a very sensible man, of the sons of Mali, son of Levi, son of Israel, and with him were his sons and his brothers, numbering 18. Hashabiah, and with him Isaiah, of the sons of Merari, their brothers and their sons, 20. And of the helpers whom David and the leaders had placed at the service of the Levites, 222 men, all written down by name. There, at the banks of the river Ahava, I proclaimed a fast, so we might humble ourselves before our God to implore Him for a safe journey for ourselves, our children, and our goods. I was ashamed to ask the king for soldiers and horsemen to protect us against the enemy on the way, for we had said to the king, "The hand of our God is for good upon all who seek Him, and the power of His wrath upon all who abandon Him." So we fasted and prayed to our God for this intention, and He listened to us. I chose 12 of the leaders of the priests, besides Sherebiah and Hashabiah, and 10 of their brothers. I weighed out before them the silver and gold, the consecrated vessels given by the king, the counselors and his leaders, and by all the Israelites who were there for the house of our God. And I entrusted into their hands 650 talents of silver, silver vessels worth 100 talents, 20 bowls of gold worth 1,000 darics, and 2 vessels of fine bright bronze, as precious as vessels of gold. Then I said to them, "You are consecrated to Yahweh. These vessels are sacred objects, and silver and gold are voluntary offerings made to Yahweh, the God of our ancestors. Take care of them and keep them until you weigh them before the leaders of the priests, the Levites, and the families of Israel in Jerusalem, in the chambers of the house of Yahweh." Then the priests and the Levites received all that we had weighed, the silver and gold and the vessels, to bring them to Jerusalem, to the house of our God. We left the banks of the river Ahava to go to Jerusalem on the 12th day of the first month. The hand of God was with us, and He kept us from all attacks and ambushes from enemies throughout our journey. We arrived in Jerusalem, where we rested for 3 days. On the 4th day, within the house of our God, the silver, the gold, and the vessels were weighed into the hands of the priest Meremoth, son of Uriah, and with him was Eleazar, son of Phinehas, and with them were the Levites, Josabad, son of Jeshua, and Noadiah, son of Binnul. After counting and weighing everything again, the total weight was written down. The Jews who had returned from exile offered sacrifices to the God of Israel, 12 young bulls for all Israel, 96 rams, 77 lambs, and as a sin offering 12 he-goats. All these were burnt offerings to Yahweh, and the decrees of the king were delivered to his governors and officials of the province beyond the river, who helped the people and the house of God. Ezra chapter 9. After all this was finished, the leaders approached me and said, "The people of Israel, the priests and the Levites, have not departed from the pagan peoples and are now serving the idols of the Canaanites, the Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, Ammonites, Moabites, Egyptians, and Amorites. For they took women from among these people for themselves and for their sons, and mixed their holy race with that of the pagans. The leaders and magistrates were the first in committing this sin. When I heard this, I tore my garments and my mantle, pulled hair from my head and beard, and sat down very much grieved. All who remembered the words of the God of Israel gathered around me. They were afraid because of this sin committed by those who had returned from exile. I remained seated and dismayed until the evening sacrifice. And then, at the time for the evening offering, I rose from my fasting, and with my clothes and mantle torn, I knelt down, spreading out my hands to Yahweh my God. I said, "My God, I am ashamed and confused. My God, I do not dare raise my eyes to you, for our sins have increased over our heads, and our crimes reach up to the heavens. From the days of our ancestors to this day, our guilt has been great. We, our kings and priests, have been given into the hands of foreign kings because of our crimes. We have been delivered to the sword, to captivity, to plunder, and put to shame as on this day. However, for a brief moment, the mercy of Yahweh our God has been shown to us. He made a remnant of our people survive and allowed the survivor to settle once again in his holy place. He has given us joy and life, though we are in bondage. We are no more than slaves, but in the midst of our slavery, God has not abandoned us. He has extended a merciful hand over us to support us before the kings of Persia. He has revived our life, enabled us to rebuild the house of our God, and to have walls in Jerusalem and in the other cities of Judah. But now, our God, what shall we say when in spite of all this we have abandoned your commandments? You have said through your servants, the prophets, the land you are entering to take possession of was defiled by the impurities of its inhabitants. They made it entirely unclean from one end to the other with their idolatry. Therefore, do not give your daughters as wives for their sons, nor take their daughters as wives for your sons. Do not work with them for their prosperity and well-being forever. Be strong, eat the best fruits of the land, and leave it as an inheritance to your children forever. After all that has come upon us for our evil deeds and our sins, you, our God, have pardoned our wickedness. Since you allowed all who are here to survive, how could we despise your commandments once more and intermarry with these wretched peoples? Will you not be angry with us and destroy us without leaving any remnant or survivors? Yahweh, God of Israel, you are just. See that we are a remnant of survivors. We are here in your presence with our sins, but we cannot remain so in your presence. Ezra chapter 10. While Ezra bowed before the house of God, weeping, praying, and making his confession, a great crowd of men, women, and children of Israel were gathered around him, and these people wept bitterly. Then Shechaniah, son of Jehiel, of the sons of Elam, said to Ezra, "We have treated our God badly by marrying foreign women taken from the peoples of this land. But Israel is not without hope because of this. Let us make a covenant with our God and send these women away with their children, according to the statement of my Lord, and all of us who respect the commandment of our God. Let the law be obeyed. You command, and we are with you. Have courage and command." So Ezra arose and made the leaders of the priests, the Levites, and of all Israel swear that they would do what had just been said. And so they swore. Then Ezra withdrew from where he stood in front of the house of God and went to the chamber of Jehohanan, son of Eliashib. But he did not eat bread or drink water there, for he was much afflicted by the sin of those who had returned from exile. A proclamation was made throughout Judah and Jerusalem that all who had returned from exile should assemble in Jerusalem, and if anyone would not come within 3 days, according to the decision of the leaders and of the local elders, all his prosperity would be confiscated, and he himself banned from the assembly of those who had returned from exile. All the men of Judah and Benjamin assembled in Jerusalem within the 3 days. It was the 20th day of the 9th month, and all the people were in the open square of the house of God, trembling because of this matter and because it was raining. Then the priest Ezra stood up and said, "You have been rebels in marrying foreign women and have increased the offense of Israel. Now then, acknowledge your sin before Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, and carry out his will. Separate yourselves from the peoples of this land and from your foreign wives." The whole assembly answered with a loud voice, "Yes, we shall do as you say." But the people are so numerous, and we are now in the rainy season. We cannot endure the inclement weather, and besides, the matter cannot be settled in a day or two, for we are many who have committed this sin. Our leaders can represent the whole assembly. Those in our cities who have married foreign women shall come at appointed times, accompanied by the local leaders and judges of every city, until we have turned aside from us the anger of our God because of this matter. The only ones who opposed this option were Jonathan, son of Asahel, and Josiah, son of Tikva, who were supported by the Levite Meshullam and Shabbatai. But those who had returned from exile complied. In accordance with what the priest Ezra ordered, they selected a family head for every family group, each of them designated in a personal way, and they sat down to resolve the matter on the first day of the 10th month. On the first day of the first month, they finished attending to all the cases of Jews who had been married to foreign women. In the clan of the priestly clans, these are the names of those who are found to have married foreign women. Among the clan of Jeshua, son of Josadak, and among his brothers, Maaseiah, Eliezer, Jarib, and Gedaliah. They pledged their word to put their wives away, and for their sin offered a ram as a sacrifice of reparation. In the clan of Immer, Hanani and Zebadiah. In the clan of Harim, Maaseiah, Elijah, Shemaiah, Jehiel and Uzziah. In the clan of Pashur, Elionia, Maaseiah, Ishmael, Nethanel, Josabad and Elasa. Among the Levites, Josabad, Shimei, Kelaiah, that is Kelite, Pethahiah, Judah and Eliezer. Among the temple musicians, Eliashib and Sakur. Among the gatekeepers, Shallum, Talem and Uri. And among the Israelites of the clan of Parod, Ramiah, Isaiah, Malkijah, Mijamin, Eleazar, Malkijah and Benaiah. Of the clan of Elam, Mattaniah, Zechariah, Jehiel, Abdi, Meremoth and Elijah. Of the clan of Zatu, Elionai, Eliashib, Mattaniah, Jeremoth, Sabad and Asa. Of the clan of Babal, Jehohanan, Hananiah, Sabbai, Hatlai. Of the clan of Bigvai, Meshullam, Maluk, Jedaiah, Jashub, Sheal, Jeremoth. Of the clan of Pahath Moab, Adna, Kelai, Benaiah, Maaseiah, Mattaniah, Basalel, Binnui and Manasseh. Of the clan of Harim, Eleazar, Ishijah, Malkijah, Shemaiah, Shimeon, Benjamin, Maluk, Shemariah. Of the clan of Hashum, Mattanai, Matata, Sabad, Eliphelet, Jeremiah, Manasseh, Shimei. Of the clan of Bani, Madai, Amran, Uel, Benaiah, Bediah, Keluhi, Vaniah, Meremoth, Elisahib, Mattaniah, Mattanai and Jasau. Of the clan of Binnul, Shimei, Shelemiah, Nathan and Adaiah. Of the clan of Sakai, Maknadebai, Shashai, Sharai, Hasarel, Shelemiah, Shemariah, Shallum, Amariah, Joseph. Of the clan of Nebo, Jael, Mattithiah, Sabad, Sebina, Jaddai, Joel, Benaiah. All these had married off foreign wives. They put them away, both women and children.